I'm here today to talk to you about the results of my 5-star predictions video. I put that video out during Vlogmas, and I had 5 books on that list, and I've been finished them for a while, but just didn't get around to this video, so here we are. What this little experiment helped me do was determine what a 5-star book really is to me. I don't think before I had really articulated that to myself very clearly, and I'm not quite sure if I can still articulate it well now, but what I do know is that there's a certain feeling that a 5-star read gives me, and that feeling can be from nonfiction or fiction or poetry or memoir. It really kind of crosses over genres, so it's not genre specific for me. It's more about the overall feeling and impression that the book has left with me. So in my 5-star predictions, I had Frog Music by Emma Donoghue, Emily's Quest by Ellen Montgomery, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, and Girl Reading by Katie Ward. And out of my 5 books, 2 of them ended up being 5 stars. So my impressions now that I'm looking back on this little project is that I think I chose pretty well. So I looked through the books that I had on my TBR or that I knew I was going to be reading coming up, and based on what I knew of them, based on my impression of myself as a reader, I decided that they were worthy of 5 stars on paper. And then it was just a matter of how well the authors executed and if I got that feeling. So I will start with the 3 that I didn't get right. Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. I really enjoyed the experience of reading this. I read this as part of Cromwellathon, which was run by Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse, starting off in January. So this was the first read, obviously, because it's the first in the trilogy. And I, delved into this big book with a lot of enthusiasm, and I got a lot out of it. I think I enjoy the Tudor time period as a period to read. I enjoy Hilary Mantel's writing. It's a bit challenging at times, and I like to be challenged by writing most of the time. I don't want it to be overly complicated for no reason, but I do like to like make me think and push me a little bit past my comfort zone. So this book definitely did that, and I did make extensive videos about this book, and so I will link those down below if you're interested in hearing more in-depth information about this one. But this one ended up being 4 stars for me, and the reason it didn't get to 5 stars is just because I didn't get that feeling, that internal warm, excited feeling as I was finishing it. I don't know if that's because it's the first book in a trilogy, and so I know there's more, and I don't feel right rating them individually, and it's more about the experience of the whole when you're reading a series. But that remains to be seen. I'll definitely be reading Bringing Up the Bodies and The Mirror and the Light, but I don't read series too close together because I don't want to tire of the narrative voice of the writer. So I think in 2021 I'll get to Bringing Up the Bodies, and we'll see then how I feel about the whole series. Girl Reading by Katie Ward was also a 4-star read for me. There were 2 sections in here that I particularly loved. One of them was the section that features Angelica Kaufman, who is a painter that I don't know that much about, and this is 18th century, I believe. And so, it's very rare female painters in that time that have any name recognition. It's almost impossible to search out these women. A lot of them are anonymous now. And so I really thought that section was very, very strong and could have been its own novel. It also talked about a lesbian relationship and all the intricacies of that. And I thought it did it with a lot of depth and empathy and, complexity, which was really, really great to read. And then the second section that I really, really liked was one that was set, I believe, in the early 1900s. And the only reason I didn't love it as much as the other section was because the main character that I wanted to follow, whose perspective I wanted to stay with, she was the one that brought you into the story, and then it switched over to another female character to tell most of the rest of the story. And so I found that to be disappointing because I really liked that other character, and I thought her personality and her dynamics were more compelling than the other character. So in case you don't know what this is 7 different time periods, 7 different types of artworks depicting a girl reading in some way. And, I have said before when I was talking about this book in my monthly wrap up that I am very, very picky about novels that talk about artists. And so, this book just didn't live up to my very high standards on that. But it was still a wonderful read, and I still enjoyed a lot of it, enough of it to give it 4 stars. The other book that got 4 stars was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And I, had seen the movie before, so I was familiar with the story. And there were parts of that book that were so moving to me. I loved Jane's character. I loved how she looked at the world and how she persevered. I loved her kind of level-headed way of existing. And so there was a lot about it that I loved, but I didn't get a kind of warm feeling about it as much as I expected to. So Jane Eyre is definitely a book that I think I will reread, and it's possible that on a reread I may get more out of it and then bump it up to 5 stars then. But my initial impression just didn't get it there for me. So that leaves the 2 books that did make 5 stars, and one of those was Frog Music by Emma Donoghue. I loved the characters in this book. I love the setting. Emma Donoghue just writes in a way that brings my imagination to life and opens up my heart, and her way of looking at the world just really resonates with me. The themes in this book, immigration, disease, because smallpox is going around at the time in San Francisco, transgressions of gender expectations, sex work, promiscuity, and on another level, women who are not conforming to the social norms of their era. Really interesting explorations of motherhood and what being a mother means, how you carry guilt about being a mother in so many different levels. It just really ticked so many boxes for me in terms of a book that, just makes you come alive as a human being. And I think that so far in my experience of reading Emma Donoghue, I've read 2 of her novels now, she's just able to do that for me. So I would probably put all of her books on a 5-star predictions list in the future. That's how much how much confidence I have in her writing ability. And then the other 5-star read was Emily's Climb, and I think it's probably a bit of a cheat to put that on there because it's the third in a trilogy by L.M. Montgomery, Emily of New Moon. So her 3 books, and Emily as a character is absolutely fantastic. She has so much depth. She has so much integrity, and the setting of Prince Edward Island is always just a pleasure to go back and be in. Ellen Montgomery's narrative voice is just a comfort to me, and it instantly transports me to these places where I'm trying to go. So that is, you know, it was a pretty sure thing that I was going to give that book 5 stars. It gives me all the feels. It makes me so warm. And yeah, I can definitely say that, you know, the core of Ellen Montgomery's work is just pure gold for me in terms of a writer. I do think that if you go down the line of the Anne of Green Gables series, the books don't keep their integrity through the whole series. And, you know, that's kind of because she was writing them to make money, and because they were, you know, people were asking for more Anne books. They weren't really about Anne when they got down to the end. They were more about the other children in the town and Anne's children and all those things. So I think, you know, Ellen Montgomery's core, so the Emily of New Moon trilogy and the first probably 4 or 5 Anne of Green Gables books. And then I am hoping to start reading her adult fiction because I'm interested in seeing how she wrote adult characters as well. I think she was really good at writing them from the perspective of the young girls that were in Emily of New Moon and Anne of Green Gables. So I'm hoping that I really want to continue that journey and delve into more of her writing. So I have wrapped up my first 5-star predictions series, and I will be doing more. I'm not going to tell you my next ones today. I will make another video about that probably near the end of the year, and they're going to have a bit more of a theme, and yeah, not just be some random books I choose, but have kind of a cohesive thread that will tie them all together. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be back again soon. And have a great day.